Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. We are focusing on the topic of prayer this week and what it means to be a person of prayer. Um, Basically, what I'm sharing with you is these few days we're going to talk about the topics that we've been talking about in Kids Church this month with your kids at Shrewsbury Assembly. And so I thought it was so cool as we've been talking about this with the children, talking about what it means to be a person of prayer, what attributes you have, how we should pray, why we pray. I thought how cool if we also shared it with all of you. And so today I actually want to share with you a story from the book of 1 Samuel. And this is the story that we covered the first week in this series with our kids a couple weeks ago at the beginning of August. And this is the story of Hannah. Now Hannah was married to a man named Elkanah. And he actually had two wives. It was okay. It was like allowed back then. Okay, don't freak out. But I would not want that to happen today, though. My husband can barely handle me, so I don't know if he can handle two. But anyway, back then, Elkanah had two wives. He had a wife named Hannah and a wife named Peninnah. And if you read through the story, it's all in 1 Samuel chapter 1. I encourage you to do that. It wouldn't take you long. It's one chapter long. It talks about how Peninnah was able to have children and Hannah was not, and how that ached her heart and how she struggled with that. It even goes on to say how the other wife would taunt Hannah with that. She would make fun of her and she would rub her face in the fact that she couldn't have children. Something that was really honored, valued. It was a lot of the purpose of women in that time in history, what children they could bear for their family, living on that legacy of their household. And so the fact that Hannah wasn't able to have children was not only shameful, it was embarrassing, it was heart-wrenching, it was all of those things. And it talks in the Bible about how Hannah responded to that. I specifically want to read to you 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 10. It says, "In bitterness of soul, Hannah wept much and prayed to the Lord." You know, she was in anguish over this. Her heart was troubled with this. And it talked about how, in this chapter, how year after year, as they would go to the temple to, give sacrifices for their family, to thank God, she would only have her single portion. No portions for the children that she hadn't had. And how Peninnah would be given many portions. And that was just a point of contention there. What I talked to the children and what I want to talk to you about this story is that when Hannah was dealing with something difficult, she was honest with God. She went to the Lord in all of her vulnerability, with all of the emotion, with what she understood and what she still didn't understand, with all of the heartache. She went to the Lord and she talked openly and honest with him about it. She didn't try to hide her pain. She didn't try to hide her struggle, but she trusted God enough to intimately share with him where she was at. I think about different relationships in my life, and I think about, certain circumstances that happen with a close, trusted friend, and that same circumstance happening with maybe someone that I only know in passing. We respond differently, don't we? If someone does something that bothers me and they're someone in passing, I'm really quick to be like, oh, it's okay. Oh, it's fine. I'm fine. But if it happens with a trusted friend that I've invested in and I have a relationship with, I might be more honest with how I really felt. Well, actually, when you do that, I don't like it. It bothers me. Can we put a boundary there? Can we change that? I want to work on that relationship with honesty because I've invested and care about that relationship. There's a trust level there. It's also when I think about things I'm going through. If I'm walking through town and I run into a stranger and they notice that I look sad and they say, "What's wrong?" I'm not going to go into great detail, okay? But if I run into someone that I know and that I trust and they say, "Hey, Sarah, you look down. Are you okay?" I'll be quicker to share with them genuinely where I'm at and how I'm feeling. Why is it different sometime in our relationship with the Lord? I know that many years in my early years of knowing God, I was much quicker just to talk to him with all smiles. "God, everything's great. You're awesome. Would you help with this? But everything's good." And I wasn't really honest. And as I got older in maturity in my years of knowing the Lord, I realized that there was something lacking in my relationship with him because there were parts of my heart that I kept hidden. God desires to have access to every part of your heart. He already knows how you feel. He already knows the struggles and the frustrations that you're going through, the disappointments. But as a loving father, he desires to hear your cry. Hannah cried out in frustration of the situation she was in. And as you read through that chapter, which I encourage you to do so, we see that the Lord heard her cry. And it even says he remembered her cry and responded in love. I want to challenge you that no matter what's on your heart today, As you go to the Father, don't just simply go with requests. Don't just simply go to praise Him, both important, but go to Him in honesty. What are things that you haven't shared with God? He's leaning in and He's listening. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily dose for spiritual growth.